What's up, everyone? It's the interview queen Alicia Toot here, and be sure to watch True Heel Heat.
You already know what time it is, man. The young goat in the building. Make sure you tune in to True Heel Heat podcast.
This is the knockout artist, Chris Hero. And if you're looking for some true heel heat, you better listen to them boys.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for NJPW Royal Quest IV review or live review and via TV review over here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. Of course, if we are talking about NJPW, I am joined, as always, by my esteemed colleague, the MC of the past, present, and future of New Japan Pro Wrestling here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. It's your boy, J-News. How are you doing, good sir?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back at it again. Me and SP3, True Heel Heat, going over that Royal Quest today. What a weekend it was. What a Sunday it was. What a good time at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to watch a show. That was a good way to watch. Yeah, yesterday it was midday. It was cool. I was trying to look for SP3 in the crowd while I was watching the thing. I was trying to look for Snall in the crowd watching the thing. I was looking for Kyrian in the crowd watching the thing. I didn't spot anybody at the end of the day, but it was what it was.
Kyrian sold his front row ticket. He was telling me he sold his front row ticket. We would have saw him if he was in the front row, or the people working at New Japan would have stopped him if he was in the front row. But I was on the hard camera side, so you probably wouldn't be able to see me if I sat at the opposite end. But Sanal told me that the sun comes down. So me and Sanal were actually in the same section, but she was like a couple of seats away. I was in the first row. She was in the third row, and we were like a couple of seats away from each other. But I saw everyone. I saw Sanal. I saw Kieran. I saw the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Zack Sabre Jr., who told me he lived in New York, sir. I did not even know this.
When was this?
back in 2016, 2017. Like I literally was like, I was trying to like be like, hey, I came all the way from New York to see you. And he was like, oh really? He was like, man, if I was living anywhere in the States, it would be in New York. He was like, the train cities are the best. He was like, I was like, what part of New York you lived in? He was like, Greenpoint. I was like, oh, Brooklyn. All right.
What's up with all the wrestlers going Greenpoint, man? Finn lived there for a bit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, come on, man. Greenpoint. All right, man. It's fine. It's fine. It's nice now, right? It wasn't nice back when I was growing up, but it's nice now.
No, it's nice now. It's nice now over there in Greenpoint. And then I also told him I used to see him at Evolve at Laboom,
Yes.
and he was big into that. He was like, man, I know everybody has they always say like Reseda and PWG is like a special place for them. He was like, for me, he was like Laboom. He was like, that was a special place. It was like, it was so intimate, and he was like, I would always have people at like the merch table coming up to me, and they would just say, oh, we went to our first wrestling event because it was at Laboom, and Laboom used to promote all those shows, even if you weren't into wrestling, they'd be handing out the flyers and stuff like that. So yeah, great conversation. Zack Sabre Jr. well worth the meet and greet money. Go out of your way to support Zack because he's a great dude. Got to see TMDK, who that's why I'm a champion. They gave me the IWGP Tag Team title and NJPW Strong Tag Team Championship. Those titles are heavy. Just want to let everybody know that those titles are quite heavy. I got to meet Taka Michinoku. Told him I grew up on him. The legend. Oh, the legend himself, Taka Michinoku. And also Mina Shirakawa, where we did our heart. She made me do the heart. She was like, you do the half heart.
I don't think there's if there's anybody in the wrestling sphere who dislikes Mina Shirakawa, there's something wrong with you.
Yes. She's a sweetheart. I told her, I was like, I came all the way from New York. She started singing New York. She was like, yeah, I've been there. She was like, I've been AEW, Stardom. And she was like, yeah, I'm going back. I'm going to come back.
Absolutely, so, man. Absolutely.
Had a blast at Royal Quest. It made me enjoy the show a whole lot more, but we're going to talk all about it from my live perspective, from you who watched it at home. And it was at a reasonable time where you could watch it live. Because
that's right.
What, like 12 p.m. for you, right?
Yeah, 12:30. I started watching at 12:30. I was like, man, it's live, man. It's live. I don't have to go through the episode cuts and the bad edits and stuff. Like I just watched the live stream in its totality. It was cool.
And we were saying that during the preview, like this is the first time the first time they've ever done Royal Quest live on NJPW World, right? Because
they'll usually put it on the site like a week later. I don't necessarily know what the rights deal was between them and
I know last year they had it on Rev Pro on demand because I remember I watched it maybe I think I did watch Zack versus Will live. I don't know if I watched the whole show live, but I know I did watch Zack and Will
live. Gotcha. Yeah. But man, it's just it was a fun show nonetheless. I'm glad that you had a good time. Glad you got to meet up with the rest of the crew, extended family and them. NK, we still looking for you, brother. I know you retired and stuff, man, but you know, we still.
I was like, we could have had all the Ace Tuckers in one place, but NK was busy with family, engagements and stuff like that. All respect. Spend time with your family. I spend time with mine, but NK, man, we needed the full Ace Tuckers reunion. Then we would have been calling out J-News because J-News is extended Ace Tucker because he's my tag team partner here. So we would have been looking for you. We would have been looking for J-News. But no, we were looking for NK because we were in the UK. But yes, we appreciate y'all if you were joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you were watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Just drop the thumbs up on the video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, we love to interact with all of you guys. So sound off in the live chat. Let's hear your thoughts on NJPW Royal Quest IV. And of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to get back to what we do here, the best way to do that is with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to contributors that you see on screen with us here. So we always appreciate the support. Just like our good brother, member of the channel, I Make Beats. Thank you so much, I Make Beats, for showing some love. He says, THH, best reviews in the game. Let's get it. Yes, we do pay-per-view reviews, tournament reviews on all the major tournaments and major shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA Wrestling. We're going to have some content for that this week as we're heading into Bound for Glory on Saturday. So even some independents and some other promotions like Stardom, Marigold, Noah, and the such we've done this year. So be on the lookout for all of that and hit the subscribe button, like I said before, so you always get notified whenever we go live here. Thank you so much, I Make Beats. He says, yes. He says, hello, SP. How was the show? I tried to spot you in the crowd. I was incognito. I did want to shout out, I believe his name was Bradley, who took a picture with me at the show. He stopped me outside of the men's bathroom. He was like, SP3. And he stopped me. We had a great talk, told me how much he likes our work over here, our content. So thank you so much. Bradley, if you're watching, your words meant a lot to me, and appreciate you sharing and tagging me on that picture that you put up on Twitter, man. It was awesome meeting you. Awesome meeting. I met someone else who recognized me in the crowd as well. So I had a good time meeting up with Sanal, meeting up with Carrier, meeting some of the wrestlers. Great time at Royal Quest yesterday. I Make Beats bringing up another big show that was this weekend, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. He says, did anyone catch Takeshita and Alexander? Because holy shit, what a match. Might be my match of the year. I'm going to be watching Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, so I Make Beats. If you can, after the show is done, let me know in the comments down below if you wanted me to do like a Patreon members exclusive reviewing that show, because I'll probably try to get it done by like Tuesday, Wednesday.
Just a quick aside though, SP3, do we know if Scott D'Amore is going to run Maple Leaf on a monthly basis, or like has he mentioned anything in like different interviews about how often he plans to run it?
I'm not sure yet because I haven't finished. I started the interview he did with Fightful, and I didn't get to like specify if he specified like how much he's gonna run it. But I've been hearing nothing but positive things about it. So I would think that it's a good sign that maybe he does something, because he has good connections. Because we had people representing New Japan, TNA Wrestling, AEW on the show. Mauro Ranallo, he sounded great from all the clips that I saw. I want to definitely watch Takeshita versus Alexander and Takeshita versus Speedball, because I was hearing from other people that Takeshita and Speedball was a match of the year candidate. So I want to see both of those matches.
I heard the ladies had a good match, Athena and Giselle Shaw and whatnot. My homegirl Mayu Yamashita, she did the damn thing, skull kicking pitches out of the stratosphere. So props to her. But as soon as you can get whatever information you can about Maple Leaf Pro to see as to how often they're going to be running, that would be cool. I was not aware, to end this whole thing, I was not aware that Scott D'Amore was under a non-compete with TNA, which is why I was wondering why AEW didn't pick him up after he back in. Because Scott left TNA back in February. It is now October.
He had a 1-year non-compete, so it expires in February 2025.
That is crazy. I was not aware of that. So that makes all the sense in the world as to why he couldn't join another televised company, being that's what the non-competes are for. But him doing his own thing doesn't. And
apparently he still has a good relationship with Tony Khan, because like Mauro was running down the lineup for Dynamite on the show.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
And then they ended the 2-night event with an angle for AEW. So maybe AEW will play that on Wednesday from Ricochet and Takeshita having
because at the end of the day, I think Scott owns all the Maple Leaf stuff at this point himself. So he can license that to whoever he wants. So for all intents and purposes, that'll be a big plug for Maple Leaf Pro if they get their stuff played on a Dynamite or a Collision or whatever the case is. So yeah, looking forward to that particular partnership if it is a thing necessarily, you know.
Yeah. We got Alex Powell, who's one of our biggest trolls. We appreciate you for being a heel, though. Alex Powell says, "Hey, J-News and SP3, we need Raj Desi versus Chris Jericho. No one needs that." I did hear the exact opposite about Raj Desi versus Bully Ray that I heard about Takeshita's matches. I heard that was horrible.
All I heard was that people went crazy for when Harley Cameron interfered in whatever Bully Ray's match was, because she was.
I did see the clip of Harley Cameron cutting a promo with Bully Ray and QT Marshall, and she was doing all of Bully Ray's lines. He was like, "Oh, you know who I am," and then she said, "Bully, get the time."
She's hilarious. It took some time for her to grow on me, to be quite honest. It really, really did. But
she gets the character.
She does. That's
the key for I think it was Kate of Fightful made the best comparison for her. She's like early years Carmella. You remember Carmella with Enzo and Kaz? How she instantly kind of was a character, but the wrestling had to catch up to the character work. That's where Harley's at.
Absolutely. I think Harley's comedic timing is ridiculous. So props to her for doing what she's been doing as of late. And if they need anybody to look up at the lights, she's it, but she makes it entertaining. So
love the segment on Collision where she just interrupts Thunder Rosa, just starts talking nonsense. So you're gonna get it, and then Thunder Rosa says, "Not today." Boom, it hits her. She's like, "You're next on the Harley Cameron hit list." She's great. She's Dolores. Your other tag team partner in the chat saying, "Hey, join THH Patreon and channel. Best money you will spend." Yes, hit the join button if you haven't already. $1 a month makes you a member, and go over to patreon.com/Trio Heat, where we have our preview going to be up for NJPW Super Junior Tag League, which starts later this week. We got Call Me Mr. Bonda, who says Global Wars UK, MLP, Forging Excellence, Royal Quest, wrestling fans are eating real good. I have to catch up on Rev Pro. Yeah, I got to watch like 3 shows because I went to Royal Quest, so that took a day of me being able to watch some stuff. So I got to watch the Rev Pro show and Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. There are 2 shows. I'm going to work on it by Wednesday when I have to put on my star rating. So I'll put them out. We got a couple of more comments to feature here. Alex Powell mentioning AEW and MLP partnership greater than WWE and TNA partnership. No, don't do that. Don't do that, Skip.
Take it easy.
Don't do that, Skip.
Take it easy. Take it easy. We got Brindley Reese over at TNA right now, and she's doing the damn thing. So the partnership is working out. She's looking good. She's looking good. So the partnership's working out. Take a look. We just started. Let's take it easy.
Alex Powell says, "Give me Osprey versus Alexander 3 at the next show, or when Kenny comes back. We need to finally get Kenny versus Alexander, because man, Scott, pretty much every interview he's done in the best since he left TNA, he's talked about that's the one matchup that Kenny wanted, but he wasn't able to do because we all know Kenny Omega was basically a mummy when he was TNA World Champion.
Yeah,
he was packed up. He was glued together.
He was the best wrestling mummy ever at the end of the day. So, for all intents and purposes, no, but you could tell in Scott D'Amore's latest interviews where he felt like that was the biggest ball he dropped. And it wasn't even, his ball to drop at the end of the day. Kenny was just hurt, and he had other engagements and stuff like that or whatever at that point in time. He really wants to get Kenny under a banner that he's doing, being that, Kenny is Canadian at the end of the day. So is Scott D'Amore. They're trying to put Canadian wrestling back on the map. Shouts to ELP for being a part of the MLP show as well.
Yeah, I did. Canadian wrestling. They had on Triller the first 10 minutes of the first show for free. So I watched a little bit of that. And it had ELP, Stu Grayson, and Josh Alexander versus Rocky Romero, Alex Zane, and Trevor Lee.
Wow. I haven't seen Trev in a bit. That's cool. Shouts to Stu Grayson. I think Stu Grayson's a great in-ring talent. Shitty just the way he was treated over in AEW or how that went about and stuff like that. But yeah, man, hopefully looking forward to bigger and better things for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. Just wanted to sidebar that into what's going on here us talking about Royal Quest, because it's all going to be, we're all going to be in the same boats in due time. So, yeah.
All the partnership, all the love there. Dolores saying, I watched that, J-News. Curse you, LOL.
Ain't my fault. You watch everything. That's not my fault, Dolores. You're the one who goes out of your way to try and watch every single thing that's out there. I always try to tell you, I try to be the voice of reason. Dolores, get some sleep, get your rest. You don't need to watch all this stuff. I understand it's all on streaming, but you don't want to listen to me. I don't know no better, right? Yeah.
Hey, I'm with you, Dolores. I try to watch everything as well, but these damn kids, man. These damn kids. But let's get into Royal Quest IV. It was from the Crystal Palace National Sports Center. There was a long ass line to get into the building. I have to add, because I went to a cafe with shout outs to Carrion, got to shout outs to him again and his missus. And I went to a cafe, came back. They had it like down the stairs and across the way. I was like, God damn, it felt like I was going into Hammerstein Ballroom again and stuff like that. But got in finally. Nice little building, not the biggest. It was kind of like it was more like an indie type of feel to the building, and I thought the crowd was good. The crowd was really good for like the final 3 matches, but from overall, I would say like solid to pretty good. What about you watching it from home? How did you think about the crowd?
I thought the crowd was solid. I'm not sure if I've ever watched that arena in a stream before. I probably have, because I've watched a ton of UK indie wrestling before. So it seemed familiar, but like the acoustics that at times were good and then they were bad. And then it was also a part of the Ref Pro show. So when the mic volume spiked, when the lady announcer was announcing, it felt like a regular Ref Pro show, because that's what happens at Ref Pro shows. No, it was everything was solid. I thought the crowd was into it. Loved it, man. Nothing like a UK crowd, man. Loved the chants that they were going for. They had a ball with Tsuji and stuff like that. So.
Oh my god, the Tsuji chants made that whole match for me. Oh my god, I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, I don't even know how to join this one. The only one I joined in on was "Please Don't Take My Tsuji Away."
I thought the one chant that they rhythmed to an 80s pop song was really, really cool to me, because I was like, that right there is the UK crowd doing their best. Because damn, man, shouts to them. Hopefully some of that stuff comes over to the US, or if they have, or if anybody from Ref Pro and New Japan, when they go over for All In next year in the UK, I think. Hopefully, Forbidden Door. Yeah, specifically for Forbidden Door. Yeah. If any of that UK crowd comes in and Tsuji's a part of the show, bring that there at the end of the day, because we need those chants. Yeah, don't you want me, Tsuji? There you go. I make beats.
Don't you want me, Tsuji? Yes, they were awesome. They were awesome, man. Like I said, the final 3 matches, but overall, like very solid to good throughout the show. The kickoff matchup on the show before the main card saw the young blood team of Yota Nakashima and Asuka Lobe make their official return to New Japan Pro Wrestling, but here still in the UK while they're on excursion, as they went against Greedy Souls, Brendan White, and Danny Jones. Lobe and Jones, they locked horns early on. Nakashima and White did the same. In the end, it was the young blood tag team who got a good response, being the former Young Lions. Greedy Souls were the heels in this matchup, getting a lot of greedy asshole chants, which I thought were funny because they're more of the local team in this matchup. We get it's like Lobe puts one of the Greedy Souls on his shoulders, and Nakashima flies off of the middle rope with a knee to the head. Lobe launches him and tosses him across the ring, gets the 1, 2, 3 for the win here. Young blood picking up the win. They show a lot of promise. They're showing a lot more chemistry with one another, and boy, oh boy, am I just happy that Nakashima changed his hair. And it seems like Oscar Lobe is growing his hair out.
So I didn't get to watch this match. I stepped in, I believe it was during the Ishimori and Robbie X match and whatnot. So I didn't know what the result was. I didn't know how the boys looked, but I got an idea from Sonal because she was live tweeting stuff while she was at the show. And yeah, man, look, I want the boys to do well at the end of the day, even though, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Nakashima. We all know. If you've been watching True Heel Heat long enough, he is my least favorite young lion of the last decade. But at the end of the day, I think that they could, if continuity and consistency is a thing, and it proves to make them better over time, albeit they're champions in two different promotions at this point, so something's got to be going right for them during the excursion for them to be champions. So for any promotion at this point, so props to them for the big return. They got the win here, I'm assuming. So that was cool to learn about and watch and look at some still photos for. You said Nakashima changed his hair. He changed his hair. I didn't. Is that what happened?
Grew it up. He don't have the kid and play fro thing that he had before. It's kind of long. He has like long hair that goes to his shoulders now. So I'm happy. And he put some highlights in it as well. So great improvement on your look.
He's still going after that Makabe look, man. He's still going after that Makabe look, man. I ain't with that shit. But whatever.
Hey, he's throwing some nice kicks. He looked good. They show promise. Greedy Souls seem like a more polished team there. So it was a pretty good way to kick off the show with the kickoff matchup there. Then we had the opening matchup on the main card, J-News, which was the matchup we talked a little bit about during our preview of Taiji Ishimori and X, who we all assumed would be his tag team partner in the Super Junior Tag League that starts later this week. And they're facing CPF, Joe Lando and Danny Black. They got a big reaction being the local talent in this matchup here. Before the match started, Taiji Ishimori introduced his mystery partner, as he referred to him, as X. And the X stood for Robbie X, as the UK standout is now officially, apparently, he has the t-shirt. He's a new member of the Bullet Club. They teamed up on Lando early on. They jumped CPF right at the bell. This was a very competitive matchup. I thought they did a great job of highlighting CPF. They made a great comeback. They combined their efforts to make the comeback, with Black landing a sliding cutter to Ishimori on the outside. He thought it yet again with a spinning moonsault, but it was the spinning moonsault by Robbie X that picked up the victory for Ishimori and Robbie X. After Ishimori hit Bloody Cross, the spinning moonsault got them the victory here, showing their teamwork early on here. And then to confirm his entrance into the Bullet Club, they did celebrate by giving each other the too sweet gesture. So Taiji Ishimori and Robbie X starting off on a good foot here. I thought this was a nice little way to kick off the show. I gave this match 3 stars, and it was a nice highlight for Robbie X, who is, going to be, I think he's going to stand out more going over to Japan and showing his talents off on a bigger stage outside of the independent scene. But CPF, I got to give them credit. They had a very good performance here. Like the sliding cutter by Black was really good. Joe Lando is someone I'm more familiar with, but I was quite impressed by Danny Black my first time seeing him. So overall good matchup here. What did you think, J-News?
No, man. Look, Ishimori and Robbie X look good together, man. So I can't knock that there. My first time seeing CPF, so that was it was enlightening, to say the least, with those two young men. So bright futures ahead, from what I can tell, and hope to see more of them going forward. Now with Ishimori and Robbie X walking into the Best of Super Juniors tournament, we'll see how it all breaks down. I was talking to you off camera about this. It seems that the Bullet Club subsects are all the rage right now. We have Bullet Club proper. We have the Rogue Army. We have this, House of Storch is still like a one-off adjacent thing. We have the War Dogs. So, Robbie X is part of that part of the Bullet Club that still stands with the OGs, I think.
Yeah.
So
That's just Bullet Club.
yes,
Just
Bullet
Bullet
Club.
I guess Ishimori is the leader of the Just Bullet Club now.
Absolutely. I think so. I think so.
Then up next we had, and I agree with Mr. Bonda, very young. I would say even like 2006 Machine Guns when they just formed as a tag team and were like really putting things together. That 2010 Machine Guns is like prime Machine Guns. So I don't know if they're there yet, but very early stages Machine Guns is that I got that type of feeling from CPF. But then we had the ladies in action, J-News, as you had Azumi coming over from Stardom, teaming up with Danny Luna to verse the Rev Pro Undisputed Women's Champion Mina Shirakawa and Kanji. Great response for Mina Shirakawa. She got the biggest reaction. Her and Azumi got the biggest reaction from the crowd. Kanji had her fans. Of course, Danny Luna had her fans. Here in the UK, you had the Brits of Kanji and Danny Luna locking up, grappling for a bit, leading to the Japanese partners coming in and interfering. Great exchange between Shirakawa and Azumi. Luna fired back in with a clothesline to Shirakawa, kicked out of an attempted leg hold. Shirakawa eventually landed the figure four leg lock on Luna until Azumi was able to break it up. Kanji toppled on top of her as well. We get another figure four leg lock from Shirakawa on Azumi this time. Azumi was able to back on Luna again, but Azumi was able to break it up with a top rope double stomp where she just caved Mina's chest in with that top rope double stomp. Kanji was incapacitated with a plunger back to the outside. Luna was able to survive a spinning back kick from Shirakawa, and she hits a big fireman's carry into a power bomb, and she pins the Rev Pro Undisputed Women's Champion. Luna getting a bit of revenge over Mina Shirakawa, who beat her for the title at Rev Pro's anniversary show earlier this year. And it seems like with the post-match that Luna indicated that she wants another shot to get her title back. I think the Stardom talent are just special. Like the way they move in the ring, Azumi just early on was just moving so fast and around. She's just like light years ahead of everybody. But I thought that Luna and Kanji, very much were up to the task of keeping up with the Stardom talent here. This was a better match than even the opener to me. I gave it 3.25 stars. What did you think about the ladies here?
Now the ladies, I think, showed out, and I appreciated it nonetheless because I am a big fan. Like Mr. Bonda, he's an Azumi mark. I'm an Azumi mark as well. Love me some Azumi. I love me some Starlight Kid. I can name a few girls that I'm a big fan of.
Starlight Kid, Shuri, Hazuki,
man. The girls in Stardom.
Tam Nakano.
Yeah, Tam
Suzuki.
What was I gonna say?
Mayu Iwatani, of course, is the GOAT.
So we fangirl over these ladies. So it's a good deal. It was cool to see Danny Luna get the pin on Mina for some revenge. Hopefully we'll see the rematch, like Mr. Bonda was saying, on a Rev Pro show down the road. It was interesting because I brought this up to you during our preview about when was the last time Danny Luna was seen with her strange tag team partners, Flash Morgan Webster and young Mark Andrews. And then I see a random picture of them on my Twitter feed and whatnot. So the algorithm's still listening. It was cool to see Danny Luna. Cool to see Kanji doing her thing, man. And the ladies had a good moment here on the card. Well placed also, might I add. Shouts to the card maker here. So be it the Prez or the folks from Rev Pro, whoever might have stuck them in there. Man. Hopefully we get to see more of the ladies on shows like this because I think the exposure is necessary. So shouts to the ladies for doing a tremendous job and keeping their stock up.
Indeed, agreed there. Then we had a special video, the pre-tape video that aired from the grizzled young veterans, GYV, Zach Gibson and James Drake. They officially challenged the winner of the Strong Openweight Tag Team Championship match at Fighting Spirit Unleashed on November 8th from Lowell, Massachusetts. They noted that they still have not been beaten in NJPW Strong. They had their first matchup at Capital Collision, but they weren't pinned in that three-way matchup, so they believe they deserve a shot at the championship. This was a nice little addition to keep some continuity between the non-Japanese shows for New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I appreciated this video here.
Yeah. I just thought that the placement was a little funny because the tag match wasn't after this. So outside of that, I thought their promos always work well for me. I feel like I saw a ridiculous ass quote on Twitter about how most fans think that British wrestlers are good promos. Like for all intents and purposes, we can tell who's the good and who's not good per se. James, I think that Drake and Gibson do a good job for who they are as characters in the ring. Gritting your teeth is a way of life for them, and they come to really just do harm and damage, and they're believable in that sense, right? Because they're no longer a comedy act at this point. So it's a different take. They just started their freaking careers over at AEW, so I'm going to give them some grace and time over there with what's been going on with their booking. But I thought it was cool to see them here in this particular video package and promo, basically talking to whoever the champions are going to be. We will talk about that match in a few, and we'll see them at Lowell. And we'll see how the GYV gets down, and hopefully, big things in the future for GYV.
Hopefully, indeed. Then we had next up Kosei Fujita going one-on-one with the former Rev Pro undisputed British heavyweight champion Michael Oku. Michael Oku decided to have his own special meet and greet right before the show with him and Amira. They were having a good time singing happy birthday for some fans. Michael Oku is so welcoming to the fans. He has a great connection with them, and you heard that here from the reaction that he got from the crowd. We get some grappling early on with Fujita and Oku feeling each other out. Oku at last got an early advantage with a big drop kick, and then he did the Fosbury flop to the outside. We get a missile drop kick from Fujita that get him back in control, following Fujita driving the match with his fire and energy. Oku endured a drop kick but failed to land one of his own. Fujita's luck and strategy seemed threatened once Oku locked in his signature half crab, but when he tried to lean back on the half crab, Fujita was able to reverse things. We get Oku with an inside cradle. Instead, he had to rely on successive kicks. Victory seemed to be at his fingertips, but it was Fujita who got a surprise inside cradle, grabbing up the legs and trapping Oku, and gets arguably his biggest singles win of his career so far, beating a former British heavyweight champion in the UK. Fujita, I predicted this accurately. Fujita getting the big win, as he will now go on to face Gabe Kidd for the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship. Me and a couple of fans also did note it. It was quite strange to not have Gabe Kidd on this card, because he's been kind of a constant figure on the non-Japanese shows for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and especially being from the UK, you would have thought he was on this show. But I like the fact that Fujita got the win to build up for his next title defense here. Fujita and Oku, they worked really well with one another. I like Fujita selling his shoulder. Oku getting a battered chest from Fujita, landing some big kicks. And this one just really had some good energy to it. So I gave it 3.25 stars. What did you think about Kosei Fujita with his biggest win yet over Michael Oku?
It worked. That's what I think. I think it worked. I'm still in the mind of where the hell has Michael Oku been in the last couple of months. That's where my mind
is. He's been in Rev Pro. He's been on the independent scene still.
It's interesting because they build that match for him a couple of months ago, like his last match, and then he's He's been there. He stayed there. It's like I was thinking that Michael Oku was going to have a bigger presence. He was going to get more exposure elsewhere, and he's just been in the same place. Great match, but nonetheless, between Fujita and Michael Oku. I think Fujita, as we know, is one of the bright stars and the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Michael Oku, a bright star, and also the future of just wrestling overall, not just in the UK, but when he comes to the States, he also impresses as well. So shouts to Oku and Fujita for doing the damn thing there. Yeah, I found it strange as well that Gabe wasn't on the show. And, once I noticed it, and I was like, where the hell is the madman? And it would have worked. It would have really, really worked, being that they were in Crystal Palace. So,
And this makes it more strange, Dolores, that he was on the Rev Pro show the night prior.
Yeah.
Which Tanahashi, Zack Sabre Jr., Michael Oku were all on that show as well.
Yeah. So maybe he does. I don't know. So maybe it was a planned day off. Who knows? At the end of the day. So, but definitely a good match for Fujita. Definitely a solid showing by Oku. I think somebody mentioned that here in the chat about maybe get Oku in the Best of Super Juniors next year, so they can have a rematch and stuff like that. Shouts to Mr. Banda. So it makes a lot of sense, man. Just want to see more of the fresher, younger, newer talent, even though these guys have been wrestling for a few years. But the talent that hasn't been necessarily pushed to the moon as of yet get bigger stages and bigger and more exposure for the rest of the wrestling fan base to see.
Indeed, agreed there. Next up, we had another special singles match. This time, you had Yota Tsuji going one-on-one with the Bullet Club War Dogs' own Drilla Maloney. This one would be much different from the previous matchup, which was more of like some technical wrestling involved. This would just be a hard-hitting matchup, but it was more highlighted by the fans just totally loving Yota Tsuji from his time in the UK with various Yota Tsuji chants and songs throughout this matchup. We got some grappling and a test of strength. Tsuji secured a headlock on Maloney, withstood a tackle twice and tripping on a second one. Following a drop kick with a basement drop kick combination, Maloney sent Tsuji to the outside, increasing the hurt on Tsuji. Maloney arrogantly gestured inappropriately to the disapproving crowd who were calling him a wanker. So he started wanking his very overlarge penis, or visual penis, I guess. Maloney was the fresher man until Tsuji was able to come back. He hits a big backbreaker. Fully in control, the grinning, distracted Tsuji was toppled by Maloney, hitting a big old super kick that echoed across the arena. Maloney drove Tsuji down with a tilt-a-whirl brainbuster, yet couldn't to gain a pinfall on that one, only getting a 2. Thanks to his overconfidence, though, it was Maloney who ultimately suffered the Gene Blaster. Yeah, he took him halfway across the ring with the Gene Blaster. It almost made me think like it was supposed to be like a reversal. And then Tsuji had to pin him right up against the ropes, basically, keeping his arms on the inside. But Tsuji picks up the win here. I did like the story of the matchup, with Maloney being kind of a victim of his own overconfidence and Tsuji always maintaining his self-control and picking up the win in the end. But I felt like most of this was really kind of the crowd. The crowd elevated this, but it was a fine match. All that withstanding, I gave it 3 stars, but I thought the crowd were the MVPs of this matchup, honestly.
And you need that sometimes, man. You need that sometimes. So big ups to the UK crowds for always being able to put on and put other crowds around the world to shame at the end of the day, no matter how large or how small. You know what I'm saying? The UK crowds always do the damn thing, man. Props to Big Suge. Big Suge, the star of the show, as he should be, because the Big Suge is the one he's the one spearheading the new generation. At the end of the day, no matter what anybody tries to tell you, because it ain't Shooter Umino, okay? I don't want anybody to drive y'all to the wrong side of the road.
Who would say such a thing?
Who? I tell you who. Anyways, yeah, man, it was fun. It was fun, and I thought this was going to be kind of a knockdown, drag out type of deal. It was a hard hitting matchup as I thought it was going to be. Didn't know if Suge was going to go high impact or just straight for the kill. It seemed like he was going more straight for the kill, in this match. So props to Big Suge on that one. Drilla Maloney, man. I've been watching him for several years. He's a talented dude. You know what I'm saying? He's got good chops. He's a good in-ring worker. To Mr. Bonda's point, he's not a junior at the end of the day. So we'll probably be seeing him do something in the never open weight to heavyweight division in due time. But good match here between Suge and Drilla Maloney. Like you said, man, the crowd chants were
Don't you want me, Suge?
Yeah.
Don't you want me? Oh,
Yeah, man. Yeah. Give me more of that. And at the end of the day, Big Suge with another win going into Jesus Christ. What's the next main show for New Japan? Power Struggle. So because obviously because Suji's not going to be a part of the Super Junior tournament, but I'm sure that he'll have a match at Power Struggle at some capacity. So we'll see how it all breaks down. So yeah, man, decent match, great crowd. So yeah.
You are my Suji, my only Suji. You make me happy when times are sad. You never know how much I love you. Please don't take my Suji away.
Absolutely.
That was one of the funniest chants I ever done at a wrestling show.
Man, the UK loves them some Big Suge. Can't knock them for that. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Oh, that was great. It was great. Yes. My Big B says, I hope we get those chants at the Tokyo Dome. That would be great.
That'd be great.
Next up, you had his fellow Three Musketeer, the aforementioned Shoto Amino, going one-on-one with Callum Newman. These two men have gone 1-1 in their previous two matches. Back in the UK was their first match with Shooter getting the win there. Callum Newman got the win back in the G1 Climax tournament earlier this year. Decent enough kind of lukewarm reaction to Shooter during his entrance. To begin, but then when the match started, the fans, you could tell there was some fans that saw him during his excursion that were really kind of cheering for them. I was next to one lady who was a big Shooter fan. She even had a sign for Shooter and stuff. Mino taunted Newman early on doing a basement drop kick, and then he did the CEO dance, only to fall victim to Newman hitting a bigger drop kick. The United Empire member kept on the offense, keeping up the pace, but he would get dropped by Umino with a drop kick, and then Umino gained a 2 count off of a fisherman suplex. Testing their metal, Newman's kicks were cracking Umino early on, and he was hitting some big wicked elbow strikes, but Umino would hit some of his own. After a back and forth, we got Newman dropped Umino with the thunderous sit-out power bomb, but Shooter was able to kick out. We get Shooter who blocked the Os Cutter and opted for the ignition, but eventually he would get the win with his John Moxley influenced Death Rider. That description of this matchup is much faster than this matchup went. This matchup went about, I think, like 16, 17 minutes. It did drag a little bit in the middle, and I didn't think that this match needed to be that long. Like, it felt like a overly long matchup because this was the third match between the two men. They wanted to kind of give Callum Newman something, and I'd say that he tested Shooter in a long matchup, but I don't think Shooter is there quite yet to kind of guide someone who is less experienced like Callum Newman to a longer matchup in this sense. So I wasn't feeling the matchup too much. I think it was a decent enough matchup, so I gave it 3 stars, but I don't think if you cut off 5 minutes of this matchup, it would have been a very good to even a great matchup, but making it 16 minutes, I think it was too long. What did you think?
So there was a couple of things about this match that stood out. One, I felt like, and I'm talking about Callum Newman at this point, I felt like Callum Newman was trying to put a new string of moves together. So he was trying to show us a new moveset to him, right? Because there's always ever since he's debuted in professional wrestling, he's been completely tied and compared to Will Ospreay, So at this point, I think him differentiating his moves is probably best for him. So he's still trying to find that and be comfortable with that in given matches. So that was something that he was testing in this match here versus Shooter, being that he does have a certain level of chemistry with Shooter. Now the thing is, and now to Shooter, I think there's something amiss with Shooter, and I don't know necessarily if it's real or kayfabe. I'm not necessarily knowing if it's supposed to be part of the show or if something's going on with him. That's the way I see it. I'm not saying that everybody else sees it that way. I see it that way. There's something amiss here with Shooter, and I don't know if they're gonna end up playing into it. I think they should, because by the end of the match, they were booing.
He was getting booed. He was getting heavily booed.
Yeah, he was getting heavily booed.
When it looked like he was gonna win the matchup, that's when the boos really started. He got drowned out with boos. It was so weird, like that. How, like I said, when he came out, it was kind of a decent to like lukewarm reception to him. Then when the match started going, he got positive, like big cheers. Like I said, I was next to one of the biggest Shooter fans here, and he got Shooter chants throughout the matchup in between like the Callum Newman chants. And then at the end, when it looked like he was going to win, he got booed out the building like he was back at King of Pro Wrestling. So I don't know what's going on with his relationship with the crowd right now. I think, I kind of get where you're coming from, where it feels like something's missing or they haven't embraced this type of reaction yet.
As of I think that they haven't necessarily gone 100% one way or another with him, and I think that's what I feel is a miss per se. But if they're going to lean into it, then cool, because it might just add a layer to character for Shooter. But I'm not, like I said, I don't necessarily know if it's just a play for the crowd or if it's just something that's really going on with him. You know what I'm saying? So because to your point, the match went on too long at the end of the day. And yet again, to the point you made earlier, Shooter is not in any position in the New Japan roster to be leading anybody in the match right now. There's just no way. So for him to have this sort of a match with Callum Newman, who's still trying to find himself as a pro wrestler, basically, is a tough ask, especially at a show, which is a collaborative show between Rev Pro and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it gets spotlighted at the end of the day. So it's one of those things where it's like you don't necessarily want one of those matches that can get easily picked apart. And people are like, young wrestlers are going to be young wrestlers. And I was like, yeah, but you don't necessarily want things to falter to an extent where it's like, all right, so where are we going to go from here type deal with it? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are more accepting of Callum still learning because he's still that young. You know what I'm saying? But Shooter is supposed to be at a certain stage and height in his wrestling career because he's been basically pushed in our faces, but he's not there yet. And we've all seen that, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it was weird to your point. The fan reception shows it at the end of the day. So, whether or not they lean into it or not, we'll continue to see. But if it continues to be weird, then I'll know it's more for show than it is anything else, I feel. But
they gotta embrace the reaction, and I'm not talking about embracing the reaction by making what New Japan's biggest issue for me has been over like the last year is that the people that they consider heels are people that generally turn into bad wrestlers. House of Torture. Like that, they turn into bad wrestlers. I don't think Shooter really needs to change anything as far as his wrestling. I think he has a good moveset. He has good timing in the ring most of the time. He has been banged up, since the G1 and stuff. So that, that could be, a contributing factor. But I don't think he has to change his in-ring style too much. He just needs to change the white meat babyface act of coming out and greeting the kids and having the sparklers and doing the CEO dance. No, we don't need any of that. You could probably do the CEO dance because that's a heel act in the US and you could get a type of reaction, but everything else as far as embracing the fans or looking like you want a connection with the fans, you need to cut all that shit out because they ain't buying it anymore.
Yeah, they're not buying it, and to use a term that's being used over at Stardom, he might need to start to embrace the hate at the end of the day. So that might be the way to go for him. Like we stated in the preview, or if nobody was, if y'all didn't watch the preview, I'll state it again here. If he's going to go heel, we have no need for him to be a part of the House of Torture. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't need to, like, to your point, the last year or so, it seems that whoever the heel wrestlers are on New Japan, it seems like it's bad wrestling instead of bad characters, right? At the end of the day. And we don't need that because we know that New Japan Pro Wrestling or Japanese wrestling in general has a higher standard of in-ring competition. So to see the in-ring competition go down just for characterization purposes, it doesn't necessarily work in that sense. So I don't think Shooter needs to go down that route per se. But a change in attitude might be something that he can use.
Just try it. Let's just try it. Let's see what happens. Next up was J-News' favorite wrestler, the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion, David Finlay, going one-on-one with Taka Michinoku, or so we thought. Because first, David Finlay got on the mic. It was disparaging the British community and their troubled history with Ireland and the Irish and his family and every generation of his family. Finlay then started to turn his ire to Taka and told him that he didn't earn a matchup with the IWGP Global Heavyweight Champion. And despite it not being scheduled to be a title match, he needs to earn the right to even face him in a non-title matchup. So he told Gato to do some of his heavy lifting. Gato attacked Taka, and Taka agreed for the matchup with Gato. So we had Gato versus Taka, and Taka got a quick victory, getting on the Taka lock and making him tap out. But this led to David Finlay then coming in to officially start his matchup with Taka Michinoku. He took some early damage and started to get a couple of near falls, did Taka. But David Finlay was able to turn things around, finally hitting the overkill for the 1-2-3. And then post-match, David Finlay had Gato hold up Taka so he can hit him in the face with the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. And I like that Finlay is now kind of talking about his hit list that he's done since winning the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. Talking about the fact that he beat Nick Nemeth. He beat his boy SANADA. He beat Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto's kids. That got heat from the crowd. I was like, yeah, this guy. I took a picture for J-News. I was like, the biggest genuine heel that's still a good wrestler in New Japan Pro Wrestling here. And yeah, he got some heat for the post-match attack on the legend that is Taka Michinoku. This match, I can't even give it a rating because it was like two matches that amounted to about 5 minutes of wrestling.
I'll say it. It was complete and utter fuckery. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Look, man. Jesus Christ. I'll give the devil his due, right? He did one of the most heel things you can do in having Gato soften up Taka Michinoku to begin the match. I'll give him that. I will give him that. Yeah. I mean, you got to give the legend a win every time now and again, right? Why didn't
it was nice to see Taka actually win a match. That was
exactly.
cool.
It was time for Taka to win a match, and then when he hit him with whatever the new finisher is called,
Overkill. You know the name. Overkill.
I don't know the name. That's what I was asking. I don't know the name.
Overkill. I don't want to hear you ask that question again. You know his finisher name.
Overkill.
It's Overkill.
All right, Overkill, because it used to be the Trash Panda, and then it was converted into something else, and
into Oblivion,
and now it's Overkill. Okay, cool. Okay,
because no, Into Oblivion or Trash Panda was basically the old Adam Cole Last Shot, right, which is just the brainbuster into the knee.
Yeah,
and then the Overkill is basically the same setup of like a suplex brainbuster, but instead he does like a go to sleep.
Oh, I thought he gut checked him with his knee. That's what I thought he did.
No, he hits him with the knee and the jaw.
Okay, all right. Well, there it is, man. Like I said, I gotta give the devil his due for the heel shenanigans. So good on him for that. I did not think. Thank you, Mr. Bonda. Haven't seen Mark Haskins wrestle in a long time, but thank you, Mr. Monder, for that.
Haven't heard that name in years.
Yeah, man. But wherever David Finlay goes next, you know what my role is going to be at the end of the day. So, like I said, I'll give the devil his due for this particular point here. Mentioning 800 years worth of strife between the Irish and the English, I think was just there was a little overkill. But to your point, that is what that is there. So yeah. That's it. That's all I got. That's all
Fair enough. Then we had 6-man tag team action. Los Ingobernables de Japón, represented by Tetsuya Naito, Hiromu Takahashi, and Titan versus TMDK's Roy Ulloa and Robbie Eagles, teaming up with CMLL's own Mascarera Dorada. This one, I will tell you, Tetsuya Naito got one of the biggest reactions of the night.
Yeah,
if not for Zack Sabre Jr. Oh my God. It's like how people used to say, yo, Okada gets like the big reaction at all the New Japan shows. That's how Naito was. Like loud Naito chants. All the members of the Los Ingobernables de Japón, because they do their entrance in like staggered of Titan. When the Titan name came up, he got like a little like minor pop, like, oh yeah, Titan. Then Hiromu you got the big cheers for Hiromu, but like Naito, man, he got one of the biggest pops of the night. TMDK got a good reaction, especially Robbie Eagles, as things started settling down. And this mostly just was all about the crowd reaction again with this matchup here, because the match started off with the fans chanting "T-shirt Naito," "T-shirt Naito." Then it became "T-shirt Robbie." Robbie, and then Naito was doing at one point when he set up a neck breaker on Robbie Eagles. He was doing the Robbie, and he did the neck breaker right on cue for the oi. I love the interaction between Titan and Dorada. They were the highlight of this matchup here. Them going back and forth, Hiromu and Robbie going back and forth, rekindling their rivalry over the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Naito, it was T-shirt Naito because he showed little to no effort. He was just here to get the big reaction, and I could not even tell you outside of the net breaker spot what he did in this match, because it was really all about the other four guys. Roy Ulloa, he probably wanted to work, have a good time working with Naito here, but I don't think Naito put much of an effort. But like I said, Titan was doing dives. You had Dorado, who's just so smooth in the ring. He's just really good. He's like, you could tell he's going to be the future of CMLL. Came down to Titan and Dorado. In the end, Dorado lost the matchup for his team as Titan hit the big double stomp to the back. Got the 1, 2, 3 for this one. Good spot for people like Ulloa, who to find their way after an excursion and then actually come out of Japan, unlike his whole excursion that was in Japan. I thought Eagles, Titan, and Dorado were the highlights of the matchup. Loved Eagles playing up the whole T-shirt Naito chant and keeping his T-shirt on and lasting it longer as he took it off. And then Hiromu put it on. So this was just a fun trios matchup. They got a big reaction from the crowd. I gave the match a 3.25 stars. Good way to have things here. I enjoyed this one. What did you think?
No, I think it was an enjoyable 6-man tag match. I kind of figured it was going to be what it was at the end of the day. Naito getting the response that he got after losing the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. The T-shirt Naito chants were funny because we all know T-shirt Naito just, he shows up when he wants and he doesn't show up when he does. He takes a tranquilo at the end of the day.
He's very tranquilo. Being there live, I was just like, oh my God, I love Naito. Because he is like Kevin Nash after a big paycheck.
Jesus Christ, Kevin Nash. Anyways,
he's chilling.
Oiwa doing his thing after his return from excursion and stuff like that. Robbie playing it up. He's a fan favorite in the UK. Mascara Dorada teaming with a team. You know, TMDK having any sort of combination with any Mexican wrestlers is new, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So that was quite the pairing there, but it was good. Dorada was able to show off some of his smoothness in the ring, like you were mentioning before, and his elite athletic abilities. So we'll see how it all turns out in the future, as to what else he's going to be doing with New Japan, and things of that nature. So we'll see how that works out. You know, Titan is Titan, man. He's grown to be such a favorite in the New Japan lexicon. So him being part of LIJ is just like he's always been there, you know, and he's only really been with them for about 2 or 3 years. So shouts to Titan. And Hiromu's Hiromu, man, at this point. I think like he's just a staple, right? There's really not, I don't think Hiromu can go any further down the card. I'm not sure if he can go any further up the card, if I'm being quite honest. But
hey, I think he's gonna be the one that faces Naito at the Tokyo Dome.
You might be right. You might be right, man. But we'll see how it all turns out. We'll see how it turns out. But a fun match nonetheless. LIJ doing their thing. And as I thought it was going to be, the TMDK side was trying to figure things out. So that's how it all played out. So yeah, man, fun match. Good, solid bits throughout. So we'll see how it all starts to pan out going towards Power Show.
Then we had the semi-main event of the night, and I would say early on, this is the match that exceeded my expectations the most. The NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships up for grabs. TMDK, represented by Shane Hayes, Mikey Nichols, the champions, versus Hiroshi Tanahashi and Tomohiro Ishii. Early on, Ishii and Tanahashi had control of things, showing their fire early on, but the challenger strategy, you know, paid off until Nichols tripped up Ishii and Hayes was able to hit a low drop kick. They started putting Ishii on his back and hitting some big kicks, keeping him down and isolated until he was able to make the tag into Tanahashi. Tanahashi came in and the ace started firing off, hitting a big running forearm, hit the big sling blade, and hit a top rope senton, or a middle rope senton, excuse me. Nichols began to start some offense on Tanahashi, but he was able to get put down with a Boston Crab. Then Ishii came in and he got in as Tanahashi locked in the Texas Cloverleaf. We had Ishii with a Scorpion Death Lock at the same time. TMDK were able to get to the ropes and break the submission hose. The ace tried for the high fly flow. He hit a double team at one point where Ishii hit a brain buster at the same time that Tanahashi did the high fly flow. He did a standing high fly flow. He went to the top rope for another high fly flow, but Nichols was able to get the knees up to block it. Tanahashi and Ishii combined forces for for that high fly flow and brainbuster at the other point on Shane Hayes. The latter followed this with a sliding lariat, did Ishii, but Nichols was able to break up the cover. A frustrated Ishii threw all of his might into a big lariat, turning Hayes inside out. It looked like Tanahashi had Nichols, so Ishii could get the win, but it was Nichols who took care of Tanahashi, keeping him incapacitated. They hit the power bottom on Tanahashi to take him out completely from this matchup. Ishii took not one, not two tank buster. He kicked out of the second tank buster that shocked everybody in the crowd. Everybody was like, whoa, okay, Ishii and Tanahashi can actually win this. But they hit a third tank buster off of the middle rope to take out Ishii. 1, 2, 3 in this very good tag team matchup. Tanahashi, of course, is on his last leg, so he's gonna move a lot slower. But I thought Ishii was in his bag here. He was just a great pro wrestler. His hard-hitting style worked so well with TMDK, but it was really the teamwork and the chemistry of TMDK that stood out here. New Japan's best tag team still holds all the gold on NJPW Strong, as well as the IWGP World Tag Team Championships. They will now move on to first the GYV coming up at Fighting Spirit Unleashed on November 8th. But this was, like I said, I think it exceeded my expectations here. I gave this 3 3/4 stars. A very good matchup here. What did you think, J-News?
I thought that this Jesus Christ, to your point, I felt the same way, man. Very surprised at how well the match went. Shouts to the Stone Pitbull for doing the Lord's work. You know what I'm saying? Holding up that team, man, because Tana was struggling, brother. Tana was struggling, but it worked. It worked out. TMDK also did their part as well in this match. Shouts to the champs for putting it all together and retaining here as they go on to face the GYV at the next New Japan Strong show. So we'll see how that all breaks down. Yeah, man, definitely got more than I expected out of this match. So that's a plus from this. And with the Prez on his last legs, I don't necessarily know how much more I'm going to be willing to watch at the end of the day. Yeah, man, I'm at a point in my life, man, where there's just certain things that I won't even approach it, man. A quick side story. I don't know if anybody's ever heard me say this, or I'll say this now. Former AAA megastar Vampiro used to be one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And to watch what his career has become over the last year and stuff like that, and how his inability to move and how bad he's looked in the ring. When I saw him and I made eye contact with him at Comic-Con, I couldn't bring myself to meet one of my wrestling heroes. That's how bad it gets.
You have nothing good to say about his latest work.
You know what I'm saying? So, when you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. You know what I'm saying? I wish I was still like that 12-year-old kid, that 10-year-old kid watching Vamp stuff and all that. And it just, I couldn't even bring myself to shake his hand, man. And I don't want it to get that way with Tana, man. Like it's so close to that at this point. It's like, man, I just don't. I don't know what to do with myself anymore, man. I don't know what to do with myself. This year is gonna be, it's gonna be something, because we got a year of Tana left. Hopefully the Prez takes some time off here and there to let the body recoup whatever it can recoup at this point in his career. But yeah, man. Shouts to Ishii and TMDK. Shouts to
Ishii. Like hard times, folks.
Yeah.
All right, finally, we had the main event of Royal Quest IV for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Zack Sabre Jr. Only 6 days after winning the title, I also talked about that. He was like, man, it's the same calendar week. I can't believe it. It was just 6 days ago I won this. But yeah, 6 days ago, he won the championship. 6 days later, he's defending it for the first time, bringing it home to the UK. And what a reaction for Zack Sabre Jr. Coming out. It felt like a championship parade during his entrance. I posted the entrance on our shorts so you could check it out, the live reaction to his entrance here. SANADA. Wow. I think his reaction was the more surprising of the two. I had to put it in the headline of not just Shooter getting heavy boos at the end of this matchup. SANADA was probably the most hated person on this show. And I think it's 100% because he's versus Zack Sabre Jr. But I did not expect that. It was quite surprising how much they were like, fuck you, SANADA, fuck SANADA. I was like, God damn.
Yeah, man.
Really hate him.
They're anyone who's gonna step in that ring against Zack Sabre Jr. in the UK is gonna get all the vitriol and all the hate. It doesn't matter if it's SANADA, it doesn't matter if it's the Prez, it doesn't matter who it is. They're gonna get all the hate because Zack Sabre Jr. is gonna eat up all the love. So it made sense. Was it surprising? Sure, because I've never necessarily seen SANADA booed like that before. But hey, man, it happens. It happens.
It does. It does. It kind of threw SANADA off at first, but I really felt like he embraced the reaction after a while. Like he started doing his
Oh, he
little
healed it up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he healed it up. He's like cupping his ears to like get more reaction, telling them he's like orchestrating the crowd to boo him some more. He tried to go for a few paradise logs, but Sabre Jr. would move so fast and evade him. He had a hard time trying to tie Sabre up into the pretzel-like move. On the second try, Sabre Jr. swung in an inside cradle. They started rolling around the mat for a bit. This was a lot of mat work and technical wrestling throughout this matchup. You get Zack twisting and bending at SANADA's fingers. SANADA would work over the knee of Zack. After dancing around his arm, Sabre next move failed to get the challenger in as he hit a basement drop kick right to the knee. He started working over the knees on the outside, hanging Zack up into the barricade and drop kicking the barricade, softening him up. He started dragging Zack around the ring, positioning his foot on the bottom rope. He put all his weight down on his ankle and applied various holds to weaken the leg. Undeterred though, Zack started making his comeback, dropped SANADA with a twisting DDT. After a vicious armbar attempt, SANADA drop kicked Sabre's knee again, and he followed up with a plancha to the floor. He spent too much time rallying up all the enraged English crowd as they were doing various chants of "fuck you, SANADA" throughout the matchup. The champion recovered and began his comeback. SANADA, though, halted this, applying a hold on Sabre that dramatically drained him, his face gasping bluingly as he was on the mat. He even reversed the European clutch into the skull end. They started trading uppercuts and elbows. Sabre surprised SANADA with a Zack driver out of nowhere, but that proved to be unsuccessful. We get a pair of dragon screw leg whips that just were like vicious the way he was putting down Zack with those. Zack would try various holds until eventually he was able to, after a few shining wizards that nearly got a pinfall for SANADA. SANADA got also a near fall on the moonsault press. He was unable to ever hit the dead fall. He tried for a third shining wizard, but Zack was able to catch the leg, drop him down. He finally trapped both arms with the Clarky cat and got the submission victory. SANADA had no choice but to submit to this one as a big pop from the crowd as their home country hero, the countryman, Zack Sabre Jr. pulled out the victory here. Post-match, Zack thanked SANADA for the challenge, his first successful defense as IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and he says that he came into 2024 with a few goals. He wanted to win the G1 Climax tournament, and he did that. He wanted to bring the title back. He says he's not the first British IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, but he's the first one to bring it back to the UK. And he says now his next goal is to main event the Tokyo Dome. And he wants to do what no other foreigner has been able to do, and that's win the Tokyo Dome main event at Wrestle Kingdom. He brought down his boys in TMDK. He even did what basically a Naito roll call with all the members of TMDK, giving them positions on the band of he said Shane Hayes, hysterical Shane Hayes is the drummers, is on drums. You got the bass with Mikey Nichols. You got Roy Uyawa, who is Roy the Mullet. You got Robbie Eagles, who just he said he has different nicknames, but he's not going to name any of them because he wants to keep his language to a minimum. Kosei Fujita, the Ichiban sweet boy who never misses his squats. It was just great, just wholesome. You love the bond that he has with them. It was a very heartfelt speech from Zack Sabre Jr. with getting all the love from the UK crowd. And I thought the main event was great. This was the only match on the night that I would say was great because I really want to give it up to SANADA, who embraced the heat that he was getting. He played the heel to perfection for Zack to be the babyface here, and I really enjoyed this one. It was an intense matchup, very physical match that told a great story. I gave it 4 stars, and now Zack Sabre Jr. will move on to defend the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Shingo Takagi November 4th. Power struggle. He's racking up the title defenses already. His second one before, and this might be his last one before he main events the Tokyo Dome on January 4th. Can Zack survive that one? We will figure that out when we do our power struggle preview. But what did you think about Zack Sabre Jr. versus SANADA?
It was great, man. The match itself, I knew was going to be good because these two guys have very good chemistry with one another. That's part one. Secondarily, I'm going to say this biasly as I say most things, but it still proves to me that SANADA belongs in the title picture at the end of the day. But we know, it wasn't a good first run, so it is what it is at this point. But it proved to me that he can still hang and he can still give a good show, and something that a lot of Japanese wrestlers don't do, which is feed into what the crowd is giving them. Most guys shut stuff out and just wrestle the match that they have pre-planned and stuff like that. But
and we criticized Great O'Khan for that. Just a couple of weeks.
So shouts to SANADA for listening to the crowd and buying in. Mr. Bonda said it perfectly earlier in the chat where he was basically playing Cena in ECW One Night Stand and stuff like that, embracing the booze and doing heel stuff. He had some good trainers in his wrestling life to show him how to heel it up in the ring. So I think he knows how to do that, and well enough in this match here. Great technical wrestling prowess between the two of them. You know what I'm saying? SANADA does that just as good as any wrestler in wrestling right now. What can you say about Zack, man? Zack's at the top, and he deserves to be at the top, and he's there for a reason right now. So we're seeing the story unfold. Great defense, great title defense. Always a high level of admiration and respect between him and SANADA, which I can appreciate. And now he's going to walk into power struggle, into his match with Shingo Takagi, which is never a easy feat. So we will see him go one-on-one with the person that I consider the greatest IWGP World Heavyweight Champion of all time. So we'll see how it all breaks down at Power Struggle. I don't think Zack has a defense at the Strong shows, right? He's not a part of that, I don't think.
He is a part of Strong Style Evolved. So
Okay.
That's why I said I preference it. It might be his final defense before we get to the Tokyo Dome, because you never know with Zack. He may decide he wants to defend it at Strong Style Evolved. But for now, it should be his final match before we get to the Tokyo Dome. And this match went 25 and a half minutes. And unlike Callum Newman and Shota Umino,
you didn't feel
the
it.
perfect amount of time.
Yeah.
You didn't feel it at all.
You didn't feel it at all. Just because they know how to get through the progressions, they know how to get to the peaks, they know how to work through their valleys and things of that nature. Like you said, like a SANADA playing into the crowd, that always lends to the stuff in between the moves is what the true pros and the good pro wrestlers know how to do. The psychology of it all, as people like to label it and stuff like that. They know it, and they know how to do it and perform it very well. So shouts to SANADA both and ZSJ for their performances here. Great main event. Yeah, man. I don't necessarily know where SANADA goes from here. I think we have, or should I say, I have this inkling that he might get into the global heavyweight championship picture somewhere down the line. Which I think could be a good look for him. So we'll see if that ever develops and things of that nature. But hopefully bigger and better things for ZSJ as he has that match coming up with Takagi. Hopefully he does have a defense for himself at that other at the Strong Evolve show. And I hope that that's where he has his match versus Shooter, because I don't feel like the match should be at Wrestle Kingdom at this part. So because
this man always trying to put my man Shooter in the back.
Listen,
of the
man, because at the end of the day, because it's going to be a special singles match between Shooter and SANADA, right? Before at Power Struggle. So that the winner of that match is going to get the next shot at Zack Sabre Jr. So if Sanada wins, then whatever. But I doubt Sanada will win. Shooter will find a way, and then they should have that match at Strong Style Evolve, and not at Wrestle Kingdom. And they can do something different at Wrestle Kingdom or whatever.
You still haven't. You have to come up with a viable, an actual like replacement. Who we're gonna put in that position?
I mean, that's an excellent question, man. I honestly don't necessarily know, but
not Shooter.
It just can't be Shooter, man. That's all I know. It just can't be Shooter. Not right now, at least. Because it's not going to be Suge. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's not going to be Oiwa on the return. So. No House of Torture members deserve a shot, so we got to get away from that. It can't be the Prez. You know what I'm saying? It can't be the Prez. So, we have limited targets, and I doubt that they'll have a rematch between him and Naito at this point. So, it's a tough go. It's a tough go unless they bring somebody else in. You were talking about bringing back the Golden Boy, but that could be a dynasty match instead of a Wrestle Kingdom match. At the end of the day, who knows?
No, you need someone from. You need a Japanese talent to main event with Zack. So Okada is the only replacement. The replacement for Shooter is not even in this company and might not want to come back.
Mr. Bonda, that's where he's at right now, though. They're pushing him down our throats, and he's not very liked. This is exactly what they're doing with Shooter Umino. Now, if you're going to tell me Shooter Umino is going to have this great career 4 or 5 years where he dominates the freaking wrestling,
the Japanese chief, Ichiban chief.
Oh man, yeah. I you know what? I'm gonna keep my Japanese underground references to myself. I might get shot out here somewhere secretly, so I won't mention the Shogun. There you go, the Shogun. Absolutely, I think the Shogun's a good one. The Shogun Shota Umino.
The shooter gun.
The Shogun. Yeah, that works. In a few years' time, I don't think that match should go down to Wrestle Kingdom, but we'll see, man. We'll see how it all breaks down. Yeah, it's tough, man, because Hantai doesn't have anybody in that particular picture unless man. I just don't see it, brother. I don't see it. But if it happens, it happens. Hopefully it works out well. But if this match that Shooter had with Callum Newman is of any tell to anybody, how is he supposed to have a good match with a guy like Zack Sabre Jr.? Now, obviously, everybody will say
he always has great matches with Zack Sabre Jr. What are we talking about?
That's fine.
Who doesn't have a great match with Zack Sabre Jr.?
It's because it's Zack, right? It's because it's
exactly
Zack does have to work. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm low on Shooter right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm low on him right now. I'm not getting off the bandwagon completely. I'm just low on him right now. It just doesn't make much sense to me for him to be at Wrestle Kingdom, for him to be the main event at Wrestle Kingdom. It just doesn't make much sense.
Your hatred of Shooter.
There's no hatred. I'm just low on him right now.
It's not very unbecoming of you. It's very unbecoming. But yes, let us know in the live chat. Final call for super chat donations. Appreciate y'all for being very active in the live chat as always, talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling's Royal Quest IV. So we want to hear your final thoughts. What was your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP? Out of 10, what did you give the show? Whether you gave the show a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle, let us know in the live chat. For me, NJ-News, for NJPW Royal Quest IV, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle in 3, 2, 1. I thought it was just gonna be me because I was there live, but CJ News got the thumbs up, Mr. Bonda got the thumbs up. I don't think it was like the greatest show from New Japan, but I had a fun time. I didn't think outside of like Shooter and Newman, mainly because it went too long. I don't think there was like and even that, I don't think that was a actively bad match. It was just subpar. It was below average. Everything else was at least average to great with the main event. So I gave the show a 7 out of 10. What did you give?
Yeah, man, I went the IGN route too. I gave it a 7 out of 10. So it's if anybody gets that reference, you'll get the reference. But yeah, man, it was a solid show at the end of the day. Like you said, nothing was great outside of the main event. Nothing was bad on the card at all. And yeah, man, it was a solid show all around, man. And that's what they I think they always figure to do solid shows, especially when it comes to the to their shows in the UK, because they never want to disappoint the fans, and they're going and it's still foreign to them, even though they're always in that market per se. But yeah, man, definitely a solid 7 out of 10 for me for this show, Royal Quest 2024.
We got Call Me Mr. Bondo, who gives it a 7.5 out of 10. We also got another super chat donation, super sticker, if you will, from I Make Beats. Thank you so much, I Make Beats, for that support. I Make Beats says, good matches, Suji match wins for me for the chance. As far as crowd reactions, yeah, it's between that and the main event for the best crowd reactions of the night. And I Make Beats also gives it a 7.5 out of 10. Match of the night, obviously for me, it's Zack Sabre Jr. versus SANADA, but love to TMDK versus Ishii and Tanahashi. That exceeded my expectations the most. Yeah. I don't think this Zack and SANADA match was like better than their G1 match. I say the G1 match was better, but this was just the minimum quality of a Zack Sabre Jr. SANADA match, especially with that hot crowd in the UK. J-News?
Yeah, same. SANADA versus ZSJ took the bill for me for match of the night. They have some of the best chemistry I've seen in recent years of any non-Japanese and Japanese wrestler when they get together in the ring. So that was definitely the match of the night for me.
We got I Made Beats. He says the tag title match of the night or main event, both were great for him. Mr. Bonda says Zack Sabre Jr. versus SANADA for match of the night. Mr. Bonda also gives MVP to Gideon Gray on commentary. Yes, this was a very Rev Pro centric event, because you had Rev Pro apron curtains. You had the female ring announcer who's from Red Pro. I forget her name. I actually follow her on Twitter, so I'm mad I don't remember her name right now. Then you also had Gideon Gray on commentary, which he's a staple of Red Pro. And Andy was in charge of the meet and greet. I met him at the front of the meet and greet. Andy, the owner of Rev Pro. So very Rev Pro centric.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with my stream. I was watching through New Japan World. When I tried to click on English, there wasn't English. I got Milano and the boys over in Japan. I got Japanese. I got the Japanese commentary the whole night. So I was there basically calling all the action myself to my TV. So there was that, and then just reacting to whatever the Japanese commentary was. I didn't get English commentary at all. So shouts to Gideon Gray for being on commentary if that was the case. So there's that.
Hey, you're not alone. I Make B says, yo, me too, J-News.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Who was your MVP for the show?
MVP for the show. Oh man. You know what? Just because he brought it home and he had a terrific match, I'll give it to Zack Sabre Jr. MVP for Zack Sabre Jr. here for Royal Quest 2024. Hopefully bigger and better things down the road for Zack Sabre Jr. And he gets to actually get the win at Wrestle Kingdom as he just projected at the end of Royal Quest. So Zack Sabre Jr. for MVP for me. What about you, SP3?
I'm going to give it to the entire TMDK Because,
All
like I
right.
said, I thought TMDK, Haston Nichols overachieved with their matchup with Tanahashi and Ishii, despite taking the loss. Roy Uyoa, Robbie Eagles looked good in their 6-man tag team matchup. That was also entertaining. Kosei Fujita with the big upset win against Michael Oku. So I think, yeah, TMDK as a whole, especially ending off the show with the very heartfelt, very kind of charming speech from Zack Sabre Jr. talking about all the members. It just felt like a TMDK show to end things. So I'll give it to the entire unit, the band, the lead band of New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. LVP for the show, I got to give it to Taka Michinoku.
Damn, man. You gave it to Taka, man, the legend? You gave it to the legend?
Even though I met him, I give it to Taka Michinoku because I don't know. Or I mean, if it's not Taka, it's unfortunately got to be Shooter. But I know you're going to do that, so I'll give it to Taka.
No, absolutely not. I'm going to have a controversial take, as I am prone to do from time to time, not all the time. But right now, if I have to say,
I know who you're going to give it to.
Oh, do you? Oh, do you know? Do you know? All right. Since Mr. SP3 knows and is aware, at the end of the day, right now, just because it's too tough for me to watch him as of late, man. I'm giving the LVP of the event to the Prez. It just doesn't. It for me, it's tough. I'm not gonna. No. I wasn't gonna go David Finlay. I gave the devil.
I really thought you were.
I gave the devil his due. But the Prez didn't hold up the end of his bargain during the tag match. It was TMDK and Ishii carrying the load. Like I said, it's just rough sometimes. It's rough sometimes. It's not an all the time thing, but it's rough sometimes, and it was a little bit rougher than usual here at Royal Quest. So I gave LVP to the Prez. Please don't kill me, Prez. I love you, brother. You are a first ballot Hall of Famer. I will appreciate you forever. But no.
Fair. That is fair. But yes, we've come to an end of another review. I want to thank all of you guys for joining us live. Thank you if you're watching us on demand. Remember, if you haven't already, drop the thumbs up on the video. If you're watching on demand, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about Royal Quest IV. This was our opinion. We want to hear from you. We heard from the live chat. We want to hear from you if you're watching us on demand. So let us know in the comments down below and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already for more True Heel Heat content. J-News, I want to give you the floor. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they will see you again.
You guys can follow me on the socials, on the Twitter /X and Instagram and such at John LYFNMG. Catch me on YouTube as well every Sunday on Dolores' channel, every Sunday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Hit the Roast podcast, as me and Dolores break down the week that was professional wrestling, everything from mainstream TV wrestling to the indies and whatever else we deem for you guys to know about. And next time you guys will see me is probably on the for the Patreon backers. You'll see me and SP3. We have our breakdown of the Super Junior blocks and our predictions there. We're probably gonna come back and do a preview for Power Struggle sometime within the next couple of weeks, and the other shows that will be coming up, like the show in Massachusetts, the New Japan Strong show. We'll be covering that as well. So be on the lookout, folks. I'll be doing some more stuff on True Heel Heat as per the usual. So look out for your good brother J-News in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, I'll probably say a week from not this Friday, but a week from this Friday, probably that's when we'll do our Power Struggle preview, because Power Struggle will be on November 4th, which is a Monday. So November 1st will probably be when we'll do our Power Struggle preview there. So be on the lookout for that. Of course, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. Like J-News said, go over to patreon.com/True Heel Heat, $3 a month, exclusive content like our Super Junior Tag League 2024 preview, where we broke down the blocks. We let you know all the teams. We gave our predictions for the Final Four as well as the finals and the winner, who we think each is going to win this year's tournament. A nice compact preview, about like 15 minutes, where we talk about everything going on with the tournament. Robbie X joining up with Ishii in the tournament, like was revealed at Royal Quest. So be on the lookout for that. If you haven't already, check out our King of Pro Wrestling review with ourselves and Sanal. Check out our Royal Quest preview if you haven't already. See how much we got wrong or right from this show. And of course, check out all the great content we got on the channel, like the True Heel Heat flagship podcast. And of course, I'll be back with you tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Eastern time, with Rated Raw review, reviewing tonight's Monday Night Raw. Until then, follow me on the Twitter machine at True Heel SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Heel Heat. Go over to True Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment for even more content outside of the wrestling world. But until then, for J-News, it is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. This has been our NJPW Royal Quest IV review. We are signing off until next time.